This lesson will focus on graphing quadratic equations with shifts. What's important to notice is that this time we're going to take a look at a quadratic equation in a different form. And this form has an a value in front of a parenthesis typically. If there's no parenthesis, then it's in front of the x squared value. Then we have a parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis we have minus h. Outside the parenthesis, we have squared, and then we have a plus k. So the quadratic equation needs to be in this format to use the shifting technique for graphing. Okay. Some information that will be helpful is that the h value found inside the parenthesis shifts the graph horizontally, or left or right. If the h value is 3, then the shift of the graph is right 3 units. And what's important to notice is that this is x minus h. So if it reads x minus 3, the minus is part of the formula, and the 3 is the h value. Okay. K will shift the graph vertically up or down. So if k was -2, then the graph moves down 2 units. And as we've mentioned earlier, if a is negative, then the graph is flipped over the x-axis. Let's take several examples to walk through this. Okay, first graph that we need to graph is g of x, that's the same as f of x, equals x squared minus 4. So I see no parenthesis. This tells me that my h value is 0. There's no shift left or right. My k value is this minus 4, which tells me that I'm going to shift down 4. And my a value is silent. It's the silent 1 that's in front of x squared, which tells me that my graph or my parabola will continue to open up. Okay, so my parabola is to take my standard parabola and move it down 4 units. I move it down to -4. And I'm going to move every single point down -4. One nice thing that we notice though is this a value is 1. If I change that 1 into a fraction, it's 1 over 1, which tells me from my vertex I can go over 1 and up 1. I know a parabola is symmetric, so I can also go left 1 and create a parabola. For the next graph, the problem right below that, we have g of x equals x minus 5 quantity squared. This time the minus 5 is inside the parenthesis. Because the minus 5 is inside the parenthesis, it tells me that I have a horizontal shift. I have an h value, and that minus is part of the formula. It's not telling me my 5 is negative. So instead of writing minus 5, I write positive 5, which means I'm going to go right, positive 5. Then I notice that there is no k value outside this parenthesis, which means my k value is 0. I'm not shifting up or down. And the silent number in front of my parenthesis is a 1, telling me a is 1 as a fraction. Remember, that is 1 over 1. It tells me my parabola is going to open up. Okay, so if I come back to my traditional parabola, which is this black line, that black line represents the graph of y equals x squared. I take that vertex at 0, 0, and I'm going to go right 5 units. That will be where my vertex is. Because of my a value being 1 over 1, I can go right 1, up 1, or left 1, up 1. I have my parabola. Great. Now to give you a different perspective of where they are put together, let's jump down to problem 5 on the next page. So here I have h of x equals negative quantity x plus 1 squared plus 3. And here I can see that inside my parenthesis, my value there, it says plus 1. Remember, the formula starts off with a minus there, so we need to take that plus and think, what would have given me a plus? Well, if I had had a -1 for h, then I would have a negative from the formula and a -1 for h, which would have created that +1 there. Another way to think about it is if the sign inside is positive, then your h value is always negative. And if your sign inside is negative, then your h value is always positive. It's kind of the opposite of what sign you see in there. Okay, so we are going to be going left 1 when we get to graphing. My k value is the +3 that is over on the right, which tells me I'm going to go up 3. And the a value that's sitting in front of the parentheses is a silent -1, which tells me my graph is going to open down, and my slope, or perspective of slope, it's not really a slope, but something that helps me graph, is -1 over 1. Okay, now putting all this together, I want to start at the origin. I want to go left 1, up 3. That's where my vertex is going to be. So my vertex is at the ordered pair -1, +3. I want my parabola to open down. And using that relationship of 1 over 1, for my vertex, I'm going to go left 1, down 1. Or for my vertex, I'm going to go right 1, down 1. And now I have my parabola. Sorry for the rough drawing.